Hello and welcome to Lazio Lounge, the only podcast that can jinx Napoli. But we are not here to talk about black magic, no. We are here to talk about Lazio and review Napoli Lazio. But before, if you like the podcast, please support us. Go to patreon.com/Lazio Lounge. Membership starts at just $2 a month. And now, let me introduce you our host. From Rome, the one and only Vittorio Campanile. And from a small town in Scotland, the other guy. Ah yes, Alasdair Mackenzie.
Did you enjoy it? Hello, guys. Well, I give a couple of minutes to Alasdair to recover. But, I mean, I'm going to block it. So, guys, I know some of you told us that we were completely wrong about Lazio Napoli or Napoli Lazio as we were playing away, but you're not very used to football tradition and bad luck and things like that, right? Alasdair, you're back with us. We made it on purpose.
God, yeah. I've gathered myself. That really took me. I mean, for the listeners' benefit here, I'm never aware in advance when you do these things, when you create these introductions. That really took me by surprise. I'd love to know what Lazio is, though. That sounds really exciting. I don't even know what your question was. You've distracted me so much. Jinxing that.
Well, a lot of friends wrote us saying that we were completely wrong about Napoli Lazio, but they didn't understand, right, Lazio? Right, Alasdair? I mean, as a Lazio fan, you have to jinx a little bit these type of matches because you know what can happen, right?
All part of the plan, yeah. I think maybe this is the power of what happens when we're actually unanimously in agreement about something. I think it's rare enough that we were both completely on the same page about it. That's maybe what happened. I mean, I think it's look, we were extremely pessimistic. I would say we were extremely pessimistic for quite good reason. Most people were, history as well as current form. But also what we witnessed on Friday night, I would say, is really one of the best tactical masterclasses Sarri has put on, probably the best since he's been in charge of Lazio. And it really took everyone by surprise, including Napoli fans. And he deserves enormous credit. I mean, the team does, of course. But really, this was all about Sarri, wasn't it? Back at his old club, he's clearly prepared. He's clearly done his analysis. He's been, you know, how much work he's going to put into this game, and it showed, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things why Lazio won is because Napoli didn't play as we were used to see. Created a couple of chances, but apart from the header from the corner kick where Lazio weren't prepared because they were protesting for a foul that happened before, Napoli never had a chance from inside the box. And I mean, if you think about it, it's unbelievable. If you add to this that Casale, that we mentioned a lot in the last month or so, was probably one of our best defenders, and he was missing. I mean, if I would go back in time and tell to myself 7 days ago, hey, Patrick will mark Osimhen so well that he will have a chance, I would start laughing. I wouldn't believe it, right? But this is what happened. So incredible performance. As you mentioned, well prepared by Sarri, because moving Marusic on Kvaratskhelia side was a winning decision. Playing Vecino as well was really important. And obviously the manager has to put the perfect plan, but the players have to execute it, right? Without one of the two, you don't win.
Yeah, and like you said, with a few of those options there, every decision that Sarri made, he was vindicated for. You picking the wing backs, Marasic and Husai, which obviously isn't anything really new. He has been doing that a lot recently. But Maricic did brilliantly against Varaskelia. Hisai also had a good game on the other side. Patrick, I think myself and many other people were worried at halftime that Patrick was already on yellow cards and up against Osimhen. But Sarri decided to keep him on there. And again, vindicated because Patrick showed that he did have the discipline. He did have the intelligence to know how to kind of continue to be a nightmare for Aussie men while staying on the right side of the law. And Vecino, I guess, was the big call. But again, and he wins the game. You know, there's no greater vindication than that with the kind of goal we wouldn't have expected from Vecino.
No.
So it was, yeah, an extraordinarily successful night for Sarri. And also brilliant at shutting down Napoli at source. I think the way he set up midfield was fantastic. You know, pushing up Milinkovic-Savic and Alberto to put more pressure on Lobotka so that he's not able to dictate the match in the way that he's used to. Napoli's midfield has been so smooth, so slick this season, and they didn't really have a chance to get going in that game because of the pressure that was being put on them. The players worked extremely hard as well. You know, this is what can happen when that team is fully focused, fully motivated, and they really were. So everyone deserves enormous credit, but I just think Sarri's game plan was so well thought out and so well executed.
No, I agree. And again, Vecino had two great chances because after a couple of minutes, he was close to score the opening goal. Di Lorenzo on the line, save it. And then he had that terrific shot. And again, I would argue that Napoli had more ball possession, but didn't create that many chances. You could say that Lazio had the biggest chances. So that's incredible. And just to put it on perspective, last time Lazio won at Napoli in a Serie A match was 2014. 2014,
15.
you know. 15, are you sure? Well, it was Pioli, the first year of Pioli at Lazio. And it has been so long ago and so rare that I still remember where I was when Lazio won that match. So, you know, Lazio has this type of things, Alice, right? Not winning away against Milan in Serie A, not winning away against Napoli in Serie A, losing at home against Chievo in Serie A. We have this incredible bad luck of, right? So it was really important to win this match, win it this way. I mean, people can say we are lucky, but Lazio deserve for me to win this match.
I haven't really seen anyone saying that. Maybe you have more, but I've been quite pleased with the fact that actually most people outside the kind of sphere of Lazio fans seem to really respect and appreciate the job that Sarri did. And I think you have to respect it, given how good Napoli have been this season, given the fact that they've only been beaten once before this. You have to respect anyone who gets a result, even if it's the flukiest result in the world, you still have to respect it. So to go down there and play the way they did and execute the plan the way they did deserves nothing but respect. I mean, I think that the weight of history element isn't worth underestimating either, because like you say, it's a long time ago. That was a completely different team back then. So that means that the current group of players, even the longest serving ones, even your Immobiles, your Luis Albertos, Milinkovic-Savic, guys who've been around for a long, long time, all they know, their only experience of going down there is losing, and losing badly, losing really badly. So going down there this time, knowing they're up against the best Napoli team we've seen since Maradona was around, you can't help but let that weigh on your mind, probably. So I just think there's so much to be pleased about, but it's again another example of Lazio's ability to perform in big games, isn't it? I mean, it's now at a point where we have beaten every single one of the so-called Seven Sisters this season, apart from Juventus. And in an era where head-to-head is a tiebreaker and the Champions League race is as close as it is, that's massive. That's massive, and that's a real change from a few years back as well.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. If you think of going back, how Lazio would hardly play, not only lose, but not even try to play this type of matches. This is incredible. And I think Stefan Radu was the only player in the squad that have won in Serie A against Napoli with a Lazio shirt. I think it's the only player left. So just to
because he's been around for 30 years though.
Yeah. Yeah. And Alasdair, you mentioned it a little bit, but Luis Alberto performance was really impressive, especially because he defended well. He recovered a lot of balls. There's one of the chances in the second half. Now I don't remember who goes and shot of Napoli, if it's Kvaratskhelia or Osimhen, but he deflected the ball. And, that's a very encouraging sign from Luis Alberto.
I think it's a part of his game that has improved this season. I think it was one of those things that Sarri saw as a weakness in his game. And at the start of the season, when Alberto wasn't getting in the team, and when he was essentially having to settle for this role as being the super sub, who would come on in the second half and try and change games. And he was very good at that. And I remember when we were talking about it at the time, saying he's probably not going to be very happy that he's so good at this, because you don't really want a reputation as being a super sub. But he has changed. I mean, I think that Sarri and him have a bit of an odd relationship from the things they've kind of said about each other. But Alberto has shown that he's able to adapt, and the defensive side of his game has come on leaps and bounds. And it has to, because in a 4-3-3, in a Sarri team, you can't afford to have passengers who are just there to be your kind of old school number 10. Your kind of creative player who wanders around and tries to play wonder passes all the time. You need to have everyone on the same page, working hard. So I do think that side of his game has improved a lot. This may have been the one of the biggest games where people have sat up and taken notice of that. But Milinkovic-Savic as well had a much better game. I guess we have come to expect that he performs better in big matches, though, and it's not really a surprise to us if he does well in I guess against Napoli, and then he'll play Bologna and be invisible. So
before switching,
you're not convinced.
No, but before switching to Milinkovic-Savic, there is this stats that I think is really interesting. Before the pause for the World Cup, Luis Alberto hadn't finished a single match for Lazio. After, so from January onwards, 6 matches he played full time, which is a lot comparing to before. And even against Napoli, he came off when they were missing 2 minutes. So that tells you how Sarri is happy about Luis Alberto, right? On the other side, about Milinkovic-Savic, a couple of times we had the chance to counterattack Napoli, and he made a couple of silly passes, trying to lob Napoli midfielder, trying to do a trick shot when he had an easy pass. I don't know. In that situation, I think it's a bad mistake.
Yeah, fair enough. I think, though, that it was good to see the other side of his game too. I mean, the whole team really, because a lot of these players, I would include Felipe Anderson, I'd include Mattia Zaccagni. Their strength is clearly in the other side of their game. Their strength is in attacking defenses, running at players, creativity, finishing, whatever. But this game wasn't about that. This was about a unity of an idea, the execution of a game plan. The work that the wingers put in was incredible shift. I mean, that's probably why they both got taken off, because they were doing so much running, defensively doing really well. some of Felipe Anderson's tackling was excellent. It was like, where's he learned to do this? So yeah, I mean, I think we just saw another side of a lot of these players, and a side that they are capable of doing well. They just need to have, I guess, the frustration has been this season that we're not seeing that the kind of attitude, willingness to do that dirty work as much in less important games. But in these big games, they are capable. They're really capable of beating anyone.
Yeah. And now, I mean, watching a little bit the table. Well, we have been second for 2 nights, Friday night and Saturday, thanks to Milan defeat. We are third now. Inter won, so they're second. There's not a huge gap, right? We have just 1 point behind Roma and Milan, 6 points against Atalanta. So we are all close. We are all there. So yes, we have to celebrate this victory, but we have to focus on the next match because now you have to win against Bologna, and then there is the derby. So it's a very important moment, I think. But the Champions League race is not over, right?
No, I mean, the other thing I'm keeping an eye on is Juventus's tally, because they have appealed this points deduction, and the appeal court is going to, at CONI, is basically a yes or no. They'll basically either confirm the sentence or they'll completely overturn it. There's not going to be any reduction or anything like that. So there is a possibility that might still happen. And I think as a result, I'm kind of keeping a wary eye on their total. And the good thing about Roma beating them last night is that now Lazio are actually level on points with Juve, even if they did get those points back again. I think I'm right in saying that. Oh no, I'm not.
No.
Okay. There are 2 points. It would be 2 points behind them if they got those points back. But yeah, it's so tight. But that's why I'm saying these head-to-heads could be really, really significant. So it's massive, and it's just the same thing again, isn't it? Is can we follow this up now with a really, on paper, relatively simple week? It's obviously nothing simple, but in comparison to beating Napoli, AZ and Bologna aren't going to be nearly the same kind of level. So that's the challenge. And I think that everyone wants to see that the consistency start to take shape. And I think we have to be realistic with our expectations of what consistency means. Consistency doesn't mean winning every single game. It's gonna, you have to be realistic with a team like Lazio. But I think it's more consistency in performance, where okay, things might not go your way. You might be really unlucky. You might hit the post 3 times. You might concede a freak goal, an unfair penalty, whatever. But I think what people have been frustrated about with Lazio's inconsistency has more been the level of performance players are reaching, the attitude that they've taken onto the pitch. Perhaps a kind of complacency, these kind of things. So I think regardless of results, we just want to see a more focused switch on Lazio in the games coming up this week.
Yeah, Bologna is 7th, so it's not a terrible team, to be honest with you.
No.
So it's going to be a challenging match because there's the Conference League, so it's not going to be easy to recover and things like that. So it's, obviously, any other team is better than playing against Napoli. So, after playing Napoli away, even playing against Juventus, it's easier in a certain way. We didn't talk about Cancellieri, but this is not the first time he comes in the last month or so and played a good match. I thought when he came in against Napoli, it was a huge risk. I understood why Sarri made this sub. We were quite tired there, but I like the attitude of Cancellieri. Really encouraging sign. Not only when he had the chance with his ball on his feet, but also defending. He made a couple of good tackles.
I think we're seeing what we want to see from him off the bench recently, and he should be encouraged, because I think he's shown the right attitude where he said in interviews when asked about lack of game time that, look, I was given my chances at the start of the season and I didn't take them. So it's fine to have to sit on the bench for a while because I'm aware that when I get those moments, I need to take them. So Sarri's almost been quite clever in dropping him, not giving him so many minutes for such a long time, that now when he is getting back on the pitch again, he is showing real determination and real hunger. And obviously, we're going to need more than that from him, but that is a really good starting point. And I think he should be encouraged by the fact that Sarri in the past has been willing to give players chances from the start once he's seeing good things from them off the bench. Let's not forget it took Casali a while to work himself into this team. Obviously, Provedel didn't start as the number one, but once he came into the team and had a good performance, he got nailed on. So it can happen, and I think that he's certainly a player we want to see develop before the end of the season. We want to see as a real option there. Given his youth, given his talent, he could be a very exciting player for the future. So yeah, but I just think there was something in the water. It was the whole team seemed really determined.
Yeah.
Really determined to get that clean sheet as well. I think that's become such a point of pride for this team now, the defence. And it's remarkable. They just keep getting clean sheets. And to do it against Napoli, I mean, okay, I think I've kind of made the point by now that they're very good, but come on. I mean, keeping a clean sheet against Napoli is very impressive.
No, definitely. I mean, after the defeat against Atalanta, Lazio didn't allow a single goal. And we're talking about Europe Conference League and Serie A. So, we are talking about 5 consecutive matches, which is definitely encouraging. You can say that Sampdoria isn't an impressive team, but Napoli definitely is one of the best attacking teams in Serie A. So this is encouraging. And the other thing, Alasdair, is we were very discouraged after Lazio Atalanta because it was a bad performance. And we thought, wow, maybe the performance, the physical condition of our team is not great. After that, Lazio won 4 matches against Cluj at home, Salernitana away, Lazio at home, Sampdoria home, and Napoli away. And we drew against Cluj away. So it's 5 matches we are undefeated and won 4 out of 5, which is definitely a good sign, even because so far this season, we saw Lazio dropping points against more team, and Sampdoria was a challenging match in a certain way, right? Because you're not mentally focused as if you're playing against Napoli or Juventus, and it takes so little in this modern football to drop points against small teams. So this is another encouraging sign.
Yeah. Yeah, Salernitana too. I mean, I remember saying last month that those 2 games were jumping out with alarm bells ringing, saying that those are exactly the kind of games you might have problems. So, yeah, I think that it almost feels like it would be a waste now for Lazio not to finish in the top 4 if we're going to beat Napoli, Inter, Milan, Roma, Atalanta. If we're going to beat all those teams in the same season, we should really be finishing in the top 4. I mean, it's just a matter of getting the points, keeping them ticking along in those other games. The good thing is, obviously, Atalanta being the exception here because they didn't qualify last season, but as all those other teams are involved in European competition too. So there's Atalanta aside, there's no one who's got a particular advantage when it comes to the fixture lists, that they're going to get more rest, more preparation than the other teams. That will change, I would imagine, after this round of European fixtures. But for now, that's how things stand. That Rome derby coming up in a couple of weeks is going to be massive. It's just such a big game for that top 4 race. But it's Lazio's home game. Let's not forget as well. So that's one positive there. You want to know something crazy about this clean sheet run, though?
Go for it.
I had to double check this because I read it on Twitter. I was like, that can't be right. But Lazio are keeping tons of clean sheets this season, obviously, which is amazing. But the last time Lazio conceded a goal and still managed to win a game was against Inter in August
Yeah.
in Serie A. I think there was one Europa League group game they managed it as well. But that's crazy, isn't it? I mean, is this do we read that positively? Like, oh, that's just because we're keeping so many clean sheets. That's great. Or do we say, well, what's going on with this team? Can they not cope with conceding goals? Because that is a long, long time to fail to get any wins when you've just let even one goal in.
Well, yeah, we won against Feyenoord. That was in September.
Yeah. So that was the last game, all competitions. But the last game in Serie A was 26th of August, Inter 3-1.
Yeah, which I don't think it's a very good sign, because we have been terrific in not conceding goals, but it means that if you concede one, you're never going to win. And yeah, we didn't allow Napoli to score, but do we really think that against Juventus, Inter, and Milan we're gonna keep a clean sheet? That's hard, but I don't know. You can see it both way, right? Compared to last season, our defense is unbelievable better, but you have to react. I think Juventus have pretty much the same issue. If the other team scores a goal, they struggle to win. So it's difficult. But I don't understand the reason why, though, Alasdair. It's not that something happens, right? It's mentally or bad luck. I don't know.
No, I mean it's hard to explain. I mean, look, there have been a lot of clean sheets in that time, so that is worth worth applauding, obviously. But yeah, it's not even a case of as simple as that they're not able to score enough goals to keep up, because when they're conceding two, they're scoring two, or it is a really, really strange statistic. That's why it took me by surprise so much. And yeah, I don't know, maybe the clean sheets have become such a part of their identity that if that goes, they're a bit thrown. I don't know. But it can't really be that, because this has been going on since August. And the clean sheet run didn't go back as far as that. So it's strange. Yeah, I don't really have any explanation for it. I just think it really took me by surprise when I heard it, because I hadn't recognized that before.
No, I know this, and unfortunately, every time Lazio concede a goal, we are not able to win matches, which is a big. Again, it's a problem, but thinking about how many clean sheets, I think Lazio is the second in Europe for clean sheets. So that's an impressive sign. I mean, I think
days.
Barcelona is the only one who has more clean sheet than Lazio, or something like that. I mean, that's unbelievable, really unbelievable. Terrific work from Sarri, and I think also the signing have been good. Romagnoli has been perfect so far when he played. Casale has been a positive surprise. Marzic, even Isai. I mean, Isai is someone we didn't expect to see playing that well and playing so much on the other side as well. So, in fact, Pellegrini still didn't play a minute so far.
No, some rumors going around today that he might get his chance finally on Tuesday. Should we have a quick chat about that before we go? I mean, we're not going to have much time before that game starts, so he won't spend ages on it. But AZ at home coming on a Tuesday is a bit of a surprise, given that's Champions League night. But yeah, I mean, they've announced their squad today. AZ, I was having a bit of a look at it. I mean, I'm not overly familiar with most of the players in there. Some recognizable ones like Matt Ryan and the keeper Jordi Classy in midfield. Jordi Classy, who I think was linked with Lazio several times in the past as well. So, but yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. It's always a bit of an unknown, because you're playing teams that you're not really watching unless you're paying particular attention to Dutch football or whatever. In the Conference League, it's always quite hard to say, but I do feel like Lazio should have enough to win this tie. But it's going to be really important to get a result to take over to Holland, I think. And I think they need to be a little bit careful with the rotation. I think it will be necessary after the efforts of Friday, but from the things I'm reading today, Immobile not starting, Pellegrini maybe getting his debut, Basic coming in, Maximiano coming back. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Is it worth a big freshening up of the squad for this? Give people chances, or?
Yeah, I think it depends. I mean, Maximiano definitely need to have another chance. Don't know if Basic deserve another one, but yeah, a little bit of rotation, you have to do it, and maybe Cancellieri could start. Now, the rumors on Ciro are quite concerning. They said he got injured again, and he's in doubt for the derby as well. Not only he's going to miss the match tomorrow and Bologna, but he could skip the derby, which is a big issue for us. We know it. So yeah, rotating definitely, not too much, but I think even with some reserves playing, we should be able to win. Cataldi should be starting instead of Vecino there. I don't think Marcos Antonio will play a lot this so far going forward, but yeah, I think a little bit of rotation is needed. But the biggest problem, Alasdair, is without Cheeto, who's going to score? Because we've been talking about positive results of Lazio in the last couple of matches, but Felipe Anderson is not scoring a lot. And same thing with Zaccagni. So we need goals from those two players.
Yeah, or the midfield more as well. I mean, obviously, Vecino did his bit and Alberto did his bit, but Milinkovic-Savic should be nice if he starts finding some scoring form again. Yeah, I think that is, if you're looking for a concern, that's it. I mean, the last 5 games, clean sheets, fantastic, but Lazio have scored what, I think, four goals in that time or something. So it would be nice for that to open up a little bit more. 5, okay.
5 considering the Conference League matches.
So 1 a game. I mean, it's not as high as you would like. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's the team's been playing pretty well, been very well organized, but I think they need to be a bit more clinical. I mean, they were outperforming their own XG quite a lot the first half of the season, as far as I remember. They were being very clinical in front of goal, unusually clinical. So perhaps this is more kind of slipping back to where they should have been. But we'll see. I mean, Ciro is so important to this, clearly, but fingers crossed that he's going to be okay.
Yeah, he's so important. Not only because he scores a lot of goals, but the leadership. I mean, against Napoli, I don't know how many balls he recovered, how much he came back and fought and took the ball out of Napoli players, encouraged the other Lazio players. He's such a vital player for us. Again, not only because he scores, he creates chances for the others, he fights. I mean, he's the real type of leader we need. So missing him in key matches is going to be critical. It's going to be a problem. Even though Alasdair, I mean, this season is probably the only season where we noticed that even without Ciro, Lazio was able to score and play good matches. But we need Felipe Anderson back to his best form, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think Zaccagni hit a really good run as well earlier this season.
Yeah.
So we know he's capable of it, but obviously he's just kind of coming back as well. So it would be nice to get just a morale boosting big win at some point where, I don't know, you score 3 or 4 and get a lot of confidence back in that regard. So we'll see. Maybe, well, I don't want to be too optimistic this week because pessimism worked really well last week.
Definitely. So. We're going to be always pessimistic. I like that. Anyway, guys, thanks again for joining us. Remember to rate and review our podcast, and we'll be back after Bologna-Lazio. Very important match, and heading to the week of the derby. I'm already nervous. Yeah. Thanks everybody, guys, and take care. Ciao.
Cheers.